rated at 0% for their scars. That's most veterans who came home marked, and it can quietly cost them $552 a month. And there's a version of this that adds almost $600 a month to a check you already get. Park that. Before we're done, I'll put the receipt on that one up on screen, live.
Kai here, map first, because the money hides in the codes. The VA files every scar and skin condition under 5 diagnostic codes, 7800 through 7806. One's for your face. 2 are for the size of scars on your body, one's for painful scars, and the last one's for skin conditions like eczema. Different rules for each, and wildly different money between them.
All season we've walked the conditions the VA rates on paper. Today, the ones you can see in the mirror. And the one that pays the most people the least attention is 7804, painful or unstable scars. It rates the scar for how it feels, not how it looks. Which means the veteran with a smooth, ugly, painless scar can walk away with nothing, and the one with a small scar that aches every day walks away with a check. Feel, not looks. That's the whole game today.
This is Isabella. So the story goes like this. A veteran checks the scar box years ago, gets rated at 0%, cosmetic. The VA says, move on. But nobody ever asks the one question that actually pays. Does it hurt? A scar that's tender every time it catches your waistband isn't cosmetic. Under 7804, it's worth real money. And by the end of it, that veteran's been leaving it on the table for a decade.
Maya here, and this is the part that gets me. Everybody pictures the ugly scar, the big one across your face, and figures that's the only kind that counts. So the guy with 4 aching little scars on his knee never files. The cold fact is, the system runs just fine on him staying quiet.
Here's the real thing, not a diagram. A healed surgical scar, the kind thousands of veterans carry from a knee reconstruction, a shoulder repair, shrapnel, a burn. Raised, tender, catching on your waistband and your sleeves every single morning. To you, it's just a nuisance you stopped noticing years ago. To the VA schedule, it's a rateable disability with a real dollar value attached, sitting in your file completely unclaimed. Before we get to the money, one thing. Every 2026 rate and the full scar rules are free at va.professorerica.com. No sign up, so you can price your own scars before you ever touch a form.
And before anybody files, Erica, here's the question every scar video ducks. If my scar's already healed and it doesn't look like much, what could it possibly be worth?
More than the guy who never filed will ever guess, because the box that pays doesn't care what your scar looks like. It cares whether it...
Real quick, because this next part matters to you. If any of this is helping, tap that like button, then hit subscribe and ring the bell so the next one finds you. Both are free and take about a second, but they tell the algorithm to show this to one more person who needs it.
Hurts. Whether it hurts. That's the whole test for 7804. And the cold fact is, it's the most missed rating in this entire subject.
And the studio chat's already pushing the question everybody's really asking. If my scar's healed and it doesn't hurt right now, does it count for anything at all?
Painful or unstable, either one counts. And here's why this rating hides in plain sight. Every other scar code measures something you can put a ruler on: how long, how wide, how deep, how much skin it covers. 7804 throws all of that out. It doesn't measure the scar at all. It counts how many of your scars hurt or break open and won't stay healed. So a veteran with 5 small invisible scars that ache can outrate a veteran with 1 big smooth one. That is not how anybody expects this to work. Watch the ladder. Here's the ruling, rung by rung. 1 or 2 painful or unstable scars, 10%. 3 or 4, 20%. 5 or more, 30%. And you don't need 1 disfiguring mark to
climb it, which is the whole scam. Small scars, real money, and nobody files.
Right. And unstable pulls its own weight too, Kai.
Unstable means the skin over the scar keeps breaking down. It heals, then it splits back open over the same spot, again and again, frequent loss of covering. That's not the same as pain, and it counts on the exact same ladder. So a scar that never once hurts but keeps cracking open is still 10, 20, 30%.
And it stacks. Read the note. One scar that's both painful and unstable, you add another 10%, so a couple of bad scars can quietly put a veteran at
Both on the same scar, not any two. Read it close.
fair, same scar, both problems. Still, that's real money for scars nobody would ever photograph.
By the end of it, here's exactly how the money slips away. The VA rarely denies these. What happens is quieter. The veteran writes scar one time on the claim, singular, generic. The rater sees one scar and grants 10%. Nobody ever listed the other 4. Nobody wrote painful beside a single one. The claim was never actually named, so the ladder never got climbed. 5 scars became 1 line, and 30% became 10.
So here's the move on the actual form. This is VA Form 21-526EZ, and the box is Section 5, Item 16, where you list your conditions. Don't write scar, write each one. Painful scar, right knee. Painful scar, left forearm. Name every scar, mark it painful or unstable, and the rater has to count them on the ladder.
And I'll give this its own name because it earns one. Call it the pain count. Not how the scar looks, how many of them hurt. 1 aching scar, 10%. A whole knee full of them, 30. Keep the pain count in your back pocket, because before this video ends, I'll show you the exact same count working for the scars nobody can even see, the ones under your clothes and inside your skin.
And none of this is your word against theirs. A C&P examiner measures and presses every scar you claim right there in the room. Which sets up the fight I know is coming, because Kai's about to ask it. Is a little scar rating even worth chasing?
$580 a month. That's what a single scar rating can add to a check a veteran already gets, and whether it's worth chasing is a real fight. So I've pulled in someone who lives inside these rules. Professor Duran studies how the VA rates scars and skin under Diagnostic Code 7800 through 7806. Professor, thanks for sitting down with us.
Glad to be here. And it's the right fight, because the honest answer here isn't a clean yes.
Good to have you, Professor. Here's my case, and it's simple. A veteran sitting at 0 for his scars is leaving a rating on the floor. Painful scars pay 10, 20, 30% on the pain alone. That's up to $552 a month a family never
sees. Only if the rating actually moves. That's the catch. Combine a lone 10% scar onto a 70% rating and the table rounds you right back to 70. You paid for the exam, you took the day off, you documented 5 scars, and your check moved $0 this month. I'm not saying don't file. I'm saying know which bracket you're in before you spend a month chasing a number that doesn't move. That's my hesitation.
0 this month. Not 0 forever. Scars don't heal backward, Kai. They pile up. Lock the rating now.
Pin it, Kai. When is it genuinely not worth filing?
When the rating won't move and there's no bigger picture. Sitting at 70 with stable scars, a lone 10 does nothing today. Then it's a lot of paperwork for
A documented scar still clears the exam. File it, prove it, done.
Sure, if the exam agrees. That's the whole if.
Professor Duran, Maya says lock it in even when the dollars are 0. Where does that actually come from?
From how ratings combine. Take a veteran already rated 30% for a knee. Add 5 painful surgical scars, 30% under 7804. Now, most people expect 30 and 30 to make 60. The VA doesn't add, it combines, and the second rating only works on the part of you that's still healthy. 30 and 30 combine to 51, which rounds to 50. That is not a small move, but you two see the money side of this better than I do.
Say that in dollars. Slowly.
Look at the receipt. The knee at 30% alone, $552.47. Now add the scars at 30. They combine to 50, not 60, 50. That one scar claim just added $580.43 a month.
And there's the promise I made you at the very top, on screen, live. That veteran goes from $552 to $1,132.90. $580 more every month off scars he already had.
That's a mortgage payment, off scars nobody told him to file.
And that's before the face even enters it. Scars on the head, face, or neck get their own code entirely, 7800, and it's the strangest one because it's scored on a checklist of 8 characteristics. A scar 5 inches long, a 1/4 inch wide, the contour raised or sunken, the skin discolored, or the tissue missing underneath over 6 square inches. One characteristic alone is 10%. Hit 4 or 5 and you're at 50. And most veterans with a facial scar never learn there's a checklist to score at all, so they never
No exist. The VA built the whole rubric and then hid it. Classic.
Exactly. It exists. The trick is getting it counted.
Let me set your two numbers side by side. Maya, a locked scar rating is worth 0 today, but the whole bracket tomorrow. Kai, 0 is 0 until it crosses a line. Professor, that line is the hinge, isn't it?
It's the hinge. 9 times out of 10, these claims don't fail on the pain being real. They fail on the veteran never counting the scars or never once saying they hurt.
So here's where I land, and it's from the regulation, not the debate. 38 CFR 4.118, Diagnostic Code 7804. File the painful scar rating when you're underrated, or when it crosses a combined boundary like 30 into 50, because that's $580 that compounds every single month. And file it too if you're anywhere near 100%, where one small rating can be the piece that tips you over. If you're pinned high with stable scars and nothing else moving, Kai's right, it can wait a season. But the day it's counted, and you can never backdate the years you skipped. So for the veteran sitting at 0 or 10, this is the easiest rating you'll ever earn. For the veteran already high and stable, it's a maybe. Professor Duran, thank you, genuinely.
Anytime. Count every scar, say the ones that hurt, and the schedule does the rest.
So the panel settled the money on the scars you can see. Now the ones you can't, and the skin problems that ride along with them. Eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, they all rate too, under 7806, and the rule is the same shape as the scars.
And it works exactly like the pain count did. The VA isn't asking whether your skin looks bad in a photo. It's asking one cold question. How much of your body does it cover?
So here's the pain count I promised you, working on skin now. 10% if it covers at least 5, up to 20% of your body. 30% from 20 to 40, and 60% once it's over 40% of your body. Under 5% treated with nothing but a cream and it drops to 0, so this is exactly the line worth measuring before you file.
Or you skip the body surface math entirely. If you're on systemic therapy to control it, steroids, the immune-suppressing drugs, the pills and shots that work through your whole system, then 6 weeks of that in a year is 30% on its own. Near constant, and you're at 60. The treatment itself is the evidence.
Look at what that means for a real veteran. Chronic eczema on both forearms and the backs of both hands, flaring raw every winter, on a steroid cream half the year. To him, it's just his skin, something he's lived with for a decade. On the schedule, that's a standing rating he's never once claimed.
And don't forget the quiet one, 7805. If a scar does something beyond hurt, if it pulls at a joint, limits how far your arm bends, tugs at an eyelid, that lost function gets rated on top, under whatever code covers the part it's dragging on. One scar can pay twice.
Now the scars below the neck, where the pain count hands off to size. 2 codes, and the whole difference between them is depth. Kai, draw it.
Deep scars, the ones with tissue damage underneath, 7801. Those rate by area. 6 square inches is 10% and it climbs, 72 square inches is 30, 144 is 40. Shallow surface scars, 7802, only rate at that very top size, 144 square inches, and they cap at 10. Same size scar, 4 times the money if it's deep.
So a wide, deep burn scar across a veteran's back can be a 40% rating all by itself. That's a number nobody thinks a scar can reach.
And you file every bit of it on one form. Every painful scar, every deep one, every patch of skin, all on the 21-526 EZ in that same conditions box, one line each.
And here's the mistake that quietly sinks these claims. People show up to the exam on their best skin day. Arms moisturized, scars calm, long sleeves in a cool room. Report your worst flare, not your good morning. They rate what they see that day, so bring them the bad day.
Because the examiner writes down exactly what's in front of them. Show them the truth of it.
So, 3 moves. Count every painful scar and name each one. Get your skin measured at a flare, not a good day. And put it all on one form. That's the whole play.
You've likely had some of these for years, doing nothing but aching and catching on your sleeves.
So here's the one to sit with. A scar you've carried for years, quietly worth money. Now that you know it counts, would you finally get it counted? Your scars are already in your file. Go make them a claim. One last thing before we sign off. If you are getting real value from these, a like and a subscribe is the best way to support the work. That is exactly what grows the series and keeps these episodes coming. This is Professor Erica. Thanks for watching and signing off.